Hi, how are you? On the other day, I watched an episode of the Huberman Labs here in YouTube. Andrew Huberman interviewed Dr. James Hollis. It was a long interview, but one thing in particular caught my attention. Dr. Hollis talked about this study that was made amongst women that were approximately 50 years old, very well educated, and very successful with their careers. Dr. Hollis said that they were vice presidential level, at least in quite big companies. Among these questions for the ladies, there was one which was, would you do it again? If you would start over now, would you do the same choices and be here where you are now? And almost 100% of those women said no. They wouldn't do it again. Of course, the men in the interview were baffled, but I was not. I thought that, thank God that somebody is studying this and publishing this and starting to talk about this. Like Dr. Hollis assumed, I can assume also that the women that were questioned or interviewed, they maybe didn't have children or have many or had very little time for them. They maybe didn't have any love life or very little time for it, and even maybe no friends, just work-related friends, which are not real friends like we think about it. They are most often the people that think that they benefit something from knowing you, and that's not a real friendship. But everyone who has tried to work and have a family at the same time know that it's quite difficult. Children tend to take everything, and work tends to take everything too, if you do not put some kind of boundaries to it. Even a regular job that you just go 9 to 5 or some fixed hours is difficult to manage. Yet along, if you try to advance your career and get promotions, then you have to be answering emails 24/7 and answering phones. And that's no way to live a family life. But why were these women then, if not sad, then not very happy? If you have children but you don't have time for them, you tend to feel like inadequate all the time. You're not a good mom, you're not a good employee, and you're not present anywhere, and you feel constantly bad. So who would enjoy that? And another thing is that how have our lives or worlds came to that? First, it was a question of, do women have a right to work? And it's good we have a right to work, and we don't need our husband's permission to do this and that or use money. But then it turned around that we actually have to work. So our workload doubled. We have children and home, which are usually on women's end of the things, and then we have work and some kind of pressure to succeed. I made my choice before my children were born. I decided that I want to spend as much time with them as I possibly can, and knowing that it will lower my income, it would lower my pension when I retire someday, and it does not advance my career. But I did it anyway. I felt that I didn't have a choice. That was the only thing that I can do. I knew that I would regret later if I didn't put my children first. And this was the time before they were in school, so when they are really dependent on mother and father. Maybe it was easy decision for me, or easier, because when I was a child, I didn't grow up in a wealthy family. We didn't have much, but we weren't especially poor either, not in the 70s standards. I got my sister's own old clothes and old bicycles and old everything. I didn't have anything new or my own, but I assumed that it was a similar thing for everybody. And nobody was bullied to having their sister's clothes or their brother's clothes. It was okay. But the other thing, I didn't have a present parents, and that's something that I suffered. And I didn't want that for my children. I couldn't see the benefit of any amount of money compared to what I can give my children when I'm present. And that was a choice that I make. I am pro-choice, so if somebody wants to succeed in their career and hire a nanny or just live a childless life, that's okay. But I think that it's only fair that it's really talked about, that it doesn't guarantee happiness if you work 24/7 and try to raise the kids at the same time, especially when the work tends to demand more. And for some reason our heads are in that kind of a position that we think or we act like work is more important. But as what this study shows, it's not. It's not even more important for us. And actually I have to find this book that was made in Harvard University, and it talked about happiness. And it says that the most important thing for people's happiness is relationships. Without relationships, people are not happy. Not most of us. Of course, there is always exceptions, but not most of us. So we need something to belong. And if you have ever seen your superiors or bosses go retire or dead and stop working, you know that they will be forgotten in top 6 months, and people will compete to take their place. So in a workplace, we get forgotten. We don't really belong. We are just passing by. But it's not the same with family. And I think that we all feel it. If you're part of your family, you won't be forgotten after you're gone. You will be remembered at least 2 generations. So you feel you truly belong. And that's something that we need. We all need that. And we all need time for friends. Those kind of friends that don't try to benefit from us, but are truly with us just because they like us. But I would really welcome discussion based on this study among young women and young families. And really to realize that trying to move forward, try to get a promotion, try to get more money, and try to raise the family at the same time is not the guarantee for happiness. It's a guarantee for regret. And that's maybe the most or the saddest thing about this study, that I find myself thinking. If I can think now, of course I made loads of mistakes being a mom. It comes with the territory. If you are present, you will make mistakes, and again and again and again. But at least I tried my best. And I can be happy with that. But if I wouldn't have been present, if I wouldn't have been here and would regret that, that would be really, really waste of human life. if we have this one life that we know about. But I really do hope that this is the start for discussion about this thing, and that people wake to realize that we are human, and it's our basic need to have children and to have family for most of us. And there is no use denying that, and there is no use to denying our need to take care of our young. When they are young and that makes us happy, we can have a career or whatever after they're grown. We still have plenty of time with these life expectancies. But that was the things that came to my mind from that study or from that interview. But I think that we can continue this later on with another perspective. I hope you have a great day. I see you soon. Goodbye.